Okay, and we're back. Happy Monday morning, everybody. I believe today is the 15th. For those of you that get paid on the 1st and the 15th, congratulations. You got some money in the bank today. I'm going to start doing Facebook Lives for a week and see how you guys respond to them, see how Facebook responds to them. I do a lot better off the cuff on my feed live, and also is going to give you guys a chance to interact with me. So if you are definitely watching, do me a favor and leave some kind of emoji or comment about where you're listening from or where you're watching from right there in the comments, so I know that there's people actually online, even though I can see the number right here. Just so you know, my name is Patrick Allman. I run a couple of companies, StopDoingNothing.com, obviously, which is why you're a fan of this page or why you're watching this, and Focus Digital Marketing Agency, and we're based in Oklahoma City. And all day long, I'd like to say 8 hours a day, but it's more like 12 to 16 hours a day. I do digital marketing for companies, but on the same time, I got some self-improvement things going on, and that's usually what you're going to see here on the Stop Doing Nothing page. So today, I was going to talk to you about a previous post I put up on my fan page a couple of hours ago, and that was about the topic of exhaustion. Because I've noticed that if I don't do certain things in my life, that I am perpetually exhausted. And again, for those of you tuning in right there, I would highly encourage you to get your coffee, your water, your tea from my classier friends. And by the way, that's the cup right there that my daughter bought me. Oh my goodness, coffee's good stuff. And if you're curious, that's my daughter. She made this picture frame for me over here. And if you're ever interested in one of these coffee cups, let me know. I've got a couple of spare ones. It says, coffee is for closers only. That's from the company that makes my CRM. Okay, we're talking about exhaustion. And a lot of you have 9 to 5 jobs, Monday through Friday jobs, and you absolutely resent them. And a lot of you are entrepreneurs like me, and some of you resent that too, which is kind of weird because that's the whole point of why we became entrepreneurs, to have freedom with our time and take better care of ourselves. But I've noticed something that's creeping a lot into the lives of the entrepreneurs that I'm friends with. And as I'm putting together masterminds and meetings and things like this, I'm trying to take this all into consideration because I don't want to overwhelm people, but at the same time I want to share information with them. And that is the topic of exhaustion. So about 10 minutes ago, I wrote down some notes about exhaustion, about some things that exhaust me, some things that I think are pretty typical about what exhausts me that might also exhaust you, and some things that I think you can do to work through those. Because when we are exhausted, when we are tired, when we are mentally drained, physically drained, nothing else matters. It doesn't really matter. If you're someone who wants to be a multi-millionaire, you can't take that first step if you're exhausted. If you're somebody who wants to run a marathon or do CrossFit better or lift weights or jog or hike a mountain or walk on the Great Wall of China, none of that stuff you want to do in your life matters if you are absolutely exhausted. And I'm not talking that I'm tired a little bit because the drive home was stressful, or I'm not talking maybe you went to the gym once and you came back and the gym just wore you out, or you did a workout, or you walked around the block, or you had a really long phone call. That's not the type of exhausted I'm talking about. I'm talking about, and some of you are going to know this, the deep down, bone deep in your tissue exhausted. That when you're exhausted, like from your head to your toe, like have you ever been so exhausted like your skin hurts, or you feel your hair, or your eyes hurt, or it hurts to have light? Like I've got a ring light above me. Some of you get so exhausted sometimes that having a bright light in your eye is absolutely just painful. And some of you, unfortunately, get subject to migraines, which is really bad. That's another sign of exhaustion right there. So that's the type of exhaustion I'm talking about. I have to admit that I'm lucky. I've never had a really bad migraine that I know of, but I may have. But for those of you that get those migraines as a result of exhaustion, I really do feel for you. But again, those things don't matter at all. The concept of entrepreneurship or hitting goals or being successful or running a 6-minute mile, none of that stuff matters when you're exhausted. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. If you have any tips, please do me a favor. Drop them below so other people can share from your wisdom also, because I'm by no means the expert on this. I just know it's happened to me and I've gone through it a little bit, and I've got some tips and tricks that have worked for me when it comes to being exhausted. So the first thing that I kind of took for me to figure out about when it came to being exhausted was the medical side of things. We can control somewhat to a point our work environment or the physical labor that we do. But some of the things that we really don't understand 100% and that take a little bit longer to figure out are the medical sides of things, the physiological sides of things. And what I'm referring to there is what's going on with your body. You can have the greatest attitude in the world, you can get the most amount of sleep that you want, but if your body physiologically is not in great shape, there is nothing you can do about it. And again, please do, this should be an obvious, but I'm not a medical doctor, so don't take this as medical advice. But, however, comma space, forgive me with a little bit of sweating right there, that's just what I do when I speak. If you are someone who is if you have medical issues in your body that you cannot treat or that you may need meds for, and I'm not a big fan of meds, but sometimes they're required, I would make sure you get those addressed with some kind of medical professional first. If you go to someone who's natural or homeopathic or someone who manages your macros or your standard family doctor, I really don't care. But you might want to get with someone and get some blood tests done, because the other two things I'm going to talk to you about won't matter at all if you are absolutely exhausted and there's a medical condition going on. Now, I don't think I have a medical condition going on, so I have tried to basically self-regulate this. And at some point in time, I may need some medication as I get older, if I ever get to the point where I'm really exhausted, but I haven't had that issue yet. But the things I have done internally, I don't call these self-medicating, I just call these the things that I have done internally to help manage myself is, number one, get on a fixed sleep schedule. As much as I like my TV shows that come on, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, you know what, they're going to be there. They're going to be there tomorrow. They're going to be there on DVD. They're going to be there forever. TV shows never go away, or other things going on in the evening they never go away. Or like if you're working on email or something work-wise late at night, it never goes away. So what I've done, and this is probably maybe in the past 5 years or so, is I've done a halfway decent job of giving myself a hard stop time and a hard wake up time. And I'm not perfect, but I try to stick to these 7 days a week. And for me, that is 10 o'clock at night till 5 o'clock in the morning. So I have all kinds of alarms set up, and I know I start winding down my evening right around 9 or 9:30. And then I try to be under the covers anywhere between 10 and 10:15. And that has really helped my body. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but I've preached this before because I also do it on the weekends, like on Saturday and Sunday. And unless there's an extreme case, there are times where I do stay up late because we're socializing or because we're on a trip or something. But for the most part, I do stick to that 10 to 5 schedule. Another big thing that I've done, and you've seen me preach about this before, is hydrate. I hydrate like crazy. This morning so far, I've had 30 ounces of water, 2 cups of coffee, and I guarantee I'll have at least 100 plus more ounces of water today. And water oftentimes isn't the most pleasant tasting thing. And so what I do is I get that out of the way early on, rather than putting my feet on the ground and I'm already trying to wake up, rather than dreading getting to my water, which is out of I got a silver Yeti that a company in Yukon, Oklahoma got branded for me. It says stop doing nothing. WeEmbroider.com, check them out, friend of mine, Henry Israel. Rather than put that off, I knock that out as soon as possible, meaning I get up, I get barely clothed, get some stuff on my feet so I don't stub my toe, and I head to the kitchen and I down my water and my vitamins and a little vitamin E shot as soon as possible. I just get it out of the way. That way I can get on to the fun stuff that I want to eat and drink, like coffee and eggs and oatmeal, because everyone always loves the fact that oatmeal is really exciting. And so far we've talked about oh goodness gracious, hydrating and a sleep schedule. And the third thing here is, I'm still kind of on point 1 of my list here. The third thing here that I would talk to you about is it's obvious, and you hear people beat on it all the time, but it's what you put in your body. What I've put in my body as far as protein and beef and fats have really helped regulate my energy level. And when I regulate my energy level, it also regulates my mood level. And so I'm very much a high protein person. I'll eat, 4 or 5 eggs in the morning, and I have no problem having a steak, or there's some chicken breast I'm gonna have to cook today because I'm gonna go through a lot of chicken breast during this week right here. So diet is another one. And these are things that intrinsically because you've seen them on TV, you've seen them on other Facebook fan pages, you've read books on them, you're not a stupid person, you have to hydrate, you have to take care of yourself. But if you're in that state of constant exhaustion, then this may be one of the first things you can do to help everything else. Now, if you have a medical condition or something like that, obviously that's going to be something that's going to have to be regulated also. But this is almost like a first step or a first start you can do to help get you on that path. And this first step, plus maybe some other things I talk about, plus talking to a medical professional, that may actually help you and get you in very good shape. Please pay attention to the message on the cup, always. This is from my daughter. This is from something fucking motivation. I can't think of what it's called, but it was pretty cool. I think this is some Coffee Motivation, coffeemotivation.com or their website or something like that. Okay, we've kind of got the medical side and some physiological things that I've done to change to put myself in a better zone or a better mood, if you will. The second point I wanted to cover with you is the movement aspect. And this one should go pretty quickly for you. I'm not going to preach to you about fitness and exercise. I'm going to preach to you about movement. And what I'm referring to is I like to make sure that every hour or so I'm doing something physical. And this mainly applies to those of you that have behind the desk jobs. Oftentimes when I'm promoting a company or I'm doing digital marketing for a company, there are times where if I'm not careful, I could sit down at my desk for 4 or 5 hours nonstop and forget everything. I forget about water, forget about coffee, I forget about food, I forget about everything. And so a while back, what I started doing is I started setting hourly timers at the top of every hour to remind me to stand or just go do something. Just take a mental break. It doesn't matter how deep I am in a spreadsheet or working on a WordPress design or a graphic design or masterminding with somebody. I have to say, let's get up and take a break, because if I don't, first of all, my body actually gets painful. I get painful by not moving. Or I get pain in my body by not moving. Oftentimes people get pain in their body when they move too much. For me, it's just the opposite. So for a while there's different timers, and if you want one, I can send you one, but there's different web timers that you can use to remind you to stand up and move at the top of every hour. But I have to admit, also, I'm a big fan of my Apple Watch. For those of you that think an Apple Watch is gaudy and a waste of time, you know what? You may or may be right. But you know what? The thing I like about the Apple Watch is it's geared around keeping you fit and keeping you moving. And so the Apple Watch has an inside ring right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. Dang it. Has an inside ring right here. And on the Apple Watch, the inside ring is how far you are along towards your move goal for the day. And by default, it's set to 12, which means 12 hours, which means the Apple Watch keeps track of whether or not you've moved at least 60 seconds once an hour for every 12 hours from the moment you wake up. So, oh goodness, I just remembered, I lied earlier. When I said the first thing was I get my water as soon as I get dressed, no, I take that back because I want to get my points. I want to get my fake internet points. And one of the first things I do is I go put my watch on, because I'm going to get, if I'm moving around the house getting my water, like I said I like to, I want to get my points for it. So I get up, I get dressed, put on my watch, go and get my water, get my vitamins, usually get my eggs, and get my coffee, and I'm good to go. So do me a favor and find a way at the top of every hour to move. And this is also a good time, along with the hydration we talked about earlier. So my pattern, when I'm in my groove, my pattern is at the top of every hour to stand up, get rid of the previous water I have, for lack of trying to keep it classy, go and refill my water. If I need a snack of some sort, go do that. But make sure I'm away from my desk for 2 to 3 minutes before I get back. I'd probably say 5 minutes would be better, but 2 to 3 minutes, I want to pull myself away from the keyboard, away from the screen. Now, for those of you that have physical jobs, kudos, I am absolutely in awe of you. I'm trying to get that way more and more. You do not have that problem. You do not have that problem of movement. So for those of you, I know people that wear the Apple Watch, and they'll definitely get in 12, 18 hours, no problem. Today I got an early start because I woke up at 4:30 Central. It's 9, it's in the hour of 9 right now, so it says I've got 6, and that means I moved once in the hour. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's what that number means. And so here in about 13 minutes, when it's 10 o'clock, as long as I move in that hour, I'll get another part of that circle. And if I play my game right, that should hit my 12 by 4 p.m. Central, meaning I moved once every hour for 12 hours, starting in the 4 o'clock hour in the morning. And there's some other cool features on the Apple Watch when it comes to exercise and movement, and we'll talk about those later. But if you're somebody who lives in Apple world and you want to get more fit and you want to work better on moving, you know, an Apple Watch is a very, very good investment. And then my last point I wanted to cover with you right here is your mental state. And forgive me if I'm going to turn on the fan right here. Whoops. Here we go. We're going to turn on the fan. Woo, it's getting warm in here. Is fixing what you're actually doing in your life. I apologize if you get some wind noise there from the fan. And this is probably where I'm going to spend most of my time on, is that for me personally, I get exhausted when I'm doing things I don't like to do. And that could be a certain type of web work. It could be dealing with a frustrating client or sales work that it's not like in my sweet spot right there. And for those of you that are watching this that, you know, have an 8-to-5 job, which is nothing wrong with that, I'm not poo-pooing that at all. But for those of you that have, you know, let's say the standard lifestyle, 8 to 5, 40 hours, Saturday, Sunday off, a lot of you are in a hellhole of a job. And what I mean is you took the job because you got into it because you were lucky, or because it was a good job out of college, or because it was on a career path you liked, or because it was a reference from a friend, or was it because you had no choice. It's not something that you want to do. It's not your first choice when it comes to working. And you get up in the morning like I do. You go to that job. You say your normal pleasantries, but you're not into it. You're there to on rote. You're there to get certain tasks done. You'll smile and you'll do them. You're great at what you do, but it doesn't juice you. You don't drive faster to get there. That's, to me, I guess, one of the ways I would know that I had a great job is if I drove faster to get there. If I ever have to do a task and I'm trying to finish a previous task, so when I get to the fun task, that's when I know that fun task is in my sweet spot and something I'm going to enjoy doing. But if you're not in there, you need to sit down and do some serious reflection at your next available meditation moment. It might be in the evening, and figure out what you can do to talk to your boss or talk to your coworkers about getting you in that sweet spot. Or the obvious one is, you know, moving jobs, quitting jobs. I'm not encouraging you to become an entrepreneur, but if you want some more information about that, obviously let me know and I'll give you some more information about that. But that to me is the most exhausting out of all things, is sitting there in my life doing things I don't want to do, being with people I don't want to be with. There are times when in social situations where I'm not with my ideal social group, and it's exhausting. I can put on the face, I can put on the ears, I can act cool, I can smile, I can do all that stuff, but it's absolutely exhausting. And for those of you, my wife has, I'm not gonna say she has social anxieties, but she's a person who gets socially exhausted. I rarely get socially exhausted, but just the concept of the pleasantries and the small talk, you know what I'm talking about, that when you're in that situation, it can absolutely drain the life out of you. So if that's your kind of person, or if that's the kind of situation you're in also, obviously you do have some control over those situations, but the big one right there is the job. Sitting in a soul-sucking job that gives you zero joy, zero pleasure, you cannot stand your coworkers. I'm going to push you to fight for a better situation in your work environment. And again, it could be starting a new job. It could be asking your boss to get a promotion. It could be, you know what, you're going to have to quit. And if you're kind of a person who the ideal job you want requires a certain skill set, well then do me a favor, okay? This weekend or this evening, get off your ass and go to the local VOTEC or the local community college or get a book and start studying that. Take the remote, turn off the damn TV and see what it takes to get to that ideal job. Because if you don't, you're gonna wake up tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you're gonna go to that same soul-sucking job that you absolutely despise, and you're gonna be watching my videos a week from now looking for the same advice, or hopefully you're gonna save this video or share this video, do me a favor, share it, and you're not gonna have made any headway. And I don't want you to be that. I mean, my entire concept right here of stop doing nothing is when you are, make sure you guys can see it right there, when you are in a bad situation that you don't want to be in, that you take some kind of action, you alter that. Physical, mental, spiritual, psychological, physiological. If you're in any of those states where you're not in a perfect situation, then you need to change that. And so I love every single one of you. That's the whole concept of stop doing nothing. So again, as a quick recap for those of you that are following, that are coming in later in the video, what are we talking about here? Patrick's very very highly technical laid out plan. If you are the person that's kind of constantly exhausted, do me a favor, figure out the medical issues, stay hydrated, get into a high protein diet, move more, because I've noticed when I move more, I am less exhausted. And it's the opposite of most people. When most people move a lot, they get more exhausted, not me. When I move more and my body feels good, I'm less exhausted. And the last one is doing things mentally, career-wise, job-wise, that is going to get you into a perfect situation, because back when you're in a perfect situation, you are not as exhausted. You don't have that feeling when you're like checking your watch and like, oh my goodness, look at that. Oh yes, 5 o'clock cannot come soon enough. It's 4:35, 25 minutes, and you're counting at 20, and you're like looking at the clock, it's like 24 minutes and 45 seconds. You don't want to be in that situation, my friends. So I'm going to kick your ass today and try to help you get out of that bad situation. I'm going to do another video about this time tomorrow, which is going to be, 9:30, 9 o'clock Central. And in between now and then, if you have any questions or comments, please drop them below. If you have questions of a more private nature, please private message me on the Facebook page or private message me on Twitter or Instagram, and I will answer your questions either one-on-one, or I will answer them on a video like this in a more generic fashion, so it's not to call you out. But please let me know how I can get you the information so you're not so exhausted all the damn time. And to my fellow entrepreneurs out there, do myself a favor. I'm going to do a quick plug about getting yourself into a mastermind. It can be anyone, but I'm obviously going to highly push mine. And if you want some more information about that, one of the things we're going to be covering there is a mental state and how to take better care of yourself. So if you want some more information about that, please message me and I will get that to you. Otherwise, do me a favor, go grab, again, your favorite morning drink about exhaustion. Stop fucking procrastinating when you fix that. Ooh, that's getting warm. I like it hot. We're gonna fix that pretty soon. If this video was useful, do me a favor, like, love it, hate it, whatever you do. Give me some kind of reaction, comment below, and share it with a friend, and tag a friend who you know is absolutely exhausted all the time. Let's fix them, let's fix you, let's fix me, and let's have a great Monday, and we'll chat with you on Tuesday. Take care.